Hey everyone, welcome to the Lazy Susan Gameboard workshop. So the first thing you're going to want to do is just find a clean work area that you're going to be able to work in. If you've got paper, you might want to lay that down. You're just going to be using paint. It is acrylic, so it is washable, but just for easy cleanup, that's something that I do suggest. So you're going to grab your Gameboard Lazy Susan, and we're going to start with getting it painted. So you have the paint in your kit, pretty easy. You're just going to need to go through and probably do a couple coats depending on what look that you want. If you don't mind seeing the wood grain through the paint, so if you want more of like a stained look, you're probably not going to have to do very many coats. If you want a really solid dark color, you're probably going to need to let it dry and then do a couple different coats on top of it. So completely up to you how you want to do that. Just the one thing that you're going to want to make sure that you do is that you let it dry between the coats. If you try to paint over it while it's still wet, just causes not good things to happen. So just make sure that you're letting it dry. This acrylic paint dries pretty quickly, so if you're doing multiple coats, it shouldn't take too long. You just want to make sure make sure it's dry. It's dry to the touch and it's not like sticky or gummy when you feel it. It's pretty solid and dry. So it's kind of nice because I mean it's Lazy Susan, so when you're painting it, you can use that nice little feature. And then obviously you'll have to do it in a couple different parts because you'll want to make sure that the top is fully dry before you flip her over and do the bottom side. Here we go. All right, so once everything is painted and dried to the touch, both sides, everywhere, you're gonna wanna take your small container that says sealer. This is a polyacrylic, and you're actually gonna go over all of this in a light coat just to seal your paint. And it also just creates a really nice binding surface for your vinyl. You'll want to make sure that you complete this step before you put the vinyl on. Just because this polyacrylic dries clear, but when it comes to vinyl, it just messes with the chemical makeup of the vinyl, and it messes with the sticky part of the vinyl. The vinyl is made to kind of self-seal and all of that, but if you put polyacrylic over it, it can just kind of wreak havoc. So just make sure that you are completing this step first. If you go ahead and do it backwards, accidentally, it probably won't be the end of the world, but it's just suggested that you always seal first and then just put your vinyl on your dried and sealed item. So like I said, this will dry clear, but you still just want to make sure that you've got pretty even brush strokes, that you're not like, there's no globs of it anywhere, no drips, anything like that. This dries pretty quickly to the touch, so you'll probably be able to flip it over within like 20 minutes and do the other side. As far as completely drying, I would just do this and then give it a couple hours before I went ahead and did the vinyl. And like I said, you're just putting the thin coat on. It doesn't need to be anything crazy. As you can see, I haven't really dipped my brush all that often. I'm just doing a nice thin coat just to seal that paint in and give a good soft surface. Oh, got puppy hair in here. A good soft surface for that vinyl to stick to. I'm sure I'm not the only one that crafts and gets puppy hair everywhere, right? Can't be the only one out there. So do that, do your front, let it dry, and then flip it over, do the back. And then you'll want to let that dry for at least an hour or two before you go ahead and put your vinyl on. All right, so now that everything is dry, your paint, your sealant, everything is ready to go, you're gonna grab your vinyl. Everything has been pre-peeled for you, so it's gonna go pretty quickly. The one thing you're gonna do before you start peeling is just get an idea of where it's gonna go at on your board before you place it. Just because once you lay it down, it is permanent vinyl and it doesn't wanna come back up. So just kind of dry fit it, make sure everything's gonna work. Then once you're ready to go, you're gonna peel off the backing, just like that. You can take this and toss it. I would suggest doing, obviously, the big words, the family night first, and then doing your game second. So then you're gonna put it on where you want it to be. And then you're just gonna give it a good rub over it. And then you want to just grab a corner. And then as you start peeling, make sure you're going slow if you've got an area that isn't wanting to stick. You just go back over it. Same with up here. Oop. My Y is getting a little cray-cray here. There you go. And then if this top stuff is just going to get tossed, you don't need that. And if you have a scraper, grab mine. You may have gotten it at a different workshop, or maybe you just have one for laying around, or a flat edge, something. You can always use that as well. If you're doing a lot of vinyl application, these scrapers are pretty awesome little tools to have. Ta-da! We'll move on to game night. Yours will have a backing on it. Mine's already peeled up, so you'll do the same thing. You'll peel your backing off. To expose that sticky side, and then you'll set it down where you want it. And sometimes, guys, when you go to peel vinyl, you might start in the corner, and that corner, for whatever reason, is just not going to come up, right? So go to a different corner, pull on it from a different angle. Sometimes that's all it takes. Just make sure you're always going slowly so you can watch all the pieces, make sure everything is staying stuck. That one just did not want to work very well. There we go. And there you go. Once you're done, just go over it with your finger. Make sure everything is stuck down real good. And now you're good to go. Make sure you take some pictures, post them on Facebook, show us how you are using your new game board, Lazy Susan.